Yeah,
listened to Duane.
yeah,
Just
it
add
was very
more.
inspiring.
Yes, add more power to your elbows. What you're trying to do in the Tamil language, and
Yeah,
that you are supposed to be the light unto your own people,
yeah, yeah,
and everyone you are like a transformer and interpreter of
yeah, yeah,
whatever is he has come out with, and
yeah, yeah,
yes, and he has given the general framework,
yeah,
and
yeah.
we are to maybe do the connections he, and in fact actually be the field workers. That's what he said. So
Yeah,
uh, this is an encouragement to what you are already doing, and you should continue with it if you
yeah, yeah. I
got
will,
it right. So
I
yeah,
will definitely, because
yeah. So
this is actually what is meant by supporting life.
yes,
Actually, we have to give access to the all is, which has been by these religious people, the topmost source, the first source has been kept inaccessible now.
yes,
They have written in secrets, and all these gurus, masters, and initiations, and everything got corrupted. Now there is no secret actually. This
that is it.
new you is open to everybody.
Yeah.
But only thing
So
is, you can't force it down on anybody's throat actually. So we can
mhm.
only place it before us, before them. We
Okay,
can
good.
place it before them.
Mhm.
And I think people will. Another inspiring part of Diva's message is that he tells every you, the personal self, uh, the creator of the five body personal self, you itself is you actually. Why you, the
Mhm.
real you? Awareness in unison with all is. So there is no external God which creates these five bodies actually.
Yeah.
You at the awareness level, you have created the YOU, the so-called your outrageous consciousness, which Duane wrote an article. So, which we have made actually. I drew a picture of why you. Why is like a funnel, and you is
Mhm.
like a cup actually. In a three-dimensional, if you see, y is like a funnel, and u is like a cup. In the funnel also there is an opening, and in the cup also there is an opening. So the O is implied in you, YU. But that O, instead of vertically open, being open to all is, now it has been horizontally open to the matrix level, creation level dimensions. So that is a problem.
Yeah.
Instead of
Okay.
vertically being open,
Yeah. So
that
the
is why the chakras,
sorry.
from chakras, we have to come to the portal understanding.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, I just wanted to reiterate that what you are doing, like you heard Dwayne talk about Africa too, and I'm trying my best. You know, Africa is not, it's not easy to turn people around, but we are
Yeah,
trying our
yeah.
best. And
Yeah, because
you
I
are
have a
yes,
Nigerian, I have a Nigerian friend, Utunba. He also asks me a lot of questions because they are very much attached to Christianity and Jesus Christ actually.
that is it. That is it. And so you are
Yes.
also there. You are also there in India. The people are Hindus. They are addicted to masters and gurus and all the like. And
Yeah,
so mhm, you have to take the message of the you're a worldwide educator, and so Dwayne has placed everything squarely on our shoulders,
yeah,
uh, which you will find very interesting because the masters and gurus they centralize everything.
yeah.
Everything depends on them. Yeah,
Now
and
Divan has decentralized it, decentralized it.
yes,
So he has
so
reached everything to the periphery.
mhm. So you have India, You have India there, and to propagate these teachings, and it's good you are translating the some of the
I have,
works
yeah, I
into
have opened
Tamil.
a Facebook group in bilingual. I have named it as in Tamil as Tuvan Opener and Tuwane Va. Duane Opener, phonetically, when I rearrange that word, it comes as Tuvan Opener. It means one who recognizes the pure sky. Tuwane
Okay.
Va means we are inviting, please come, the pure sky. That is the prayer for purity or worship for purity. So Diwan
Okay.
Eva and Diwan Hepner, when I phonetically transliterate to Tamil, it becomes Tuvan Opunar, Tuvan Eva. Beautiful meaning. Actually, what is Diwan telling? Always is emphasizing on recognize. So
Yeah.
that is the only thing we have to do, recognize, because we are not recognizing, we are ignoring all the time.
Hmm.
We are ignoring, and our focus is on all nonsense actually. So we have
Okay.
to recognize reality. That is it.
That's it. Perception and recognition.
That is
Yeah.
what.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Nagarajan. Let me. The time is almost up, but I want to ask one last question. Maybe two. Uh, Duane, I want to come back to this issue again. You just managed to crisscross my script here, and you touched on what the no presentation is not, and I want to think that maybe we are caught up in some kind of semantics that restrict our ability to talk about the new presentation and its activities and the activities of the wonderful worldwide educators. Okay, we are nothing. We are not anything. We have no brand or label. We are not a teaching either, but we teach, and we even have a no universal university, and people can refer to something they have learned from the wonderful worldwide educators. I remember Paul Twitchell once said, however, that it is difficult to present the knowledge of the real universes in a language of opposites in the regions of time and space. So we want to hear it from the horse's own mouth. So what are we exactly doing? Because people ask this question time and again, and we some sort of chew our mouths, almost want to bite our tongues. We don't know actually what to say. We cannot conjure the words exactly as you would do to address a situation. So people need something as a reference, and it would be cool to get from you actually how we should answer this question of what the wonderful worldwide educators stand for. So we're not a teaching, but we teach. We're educators. Educators teach. So what are we doing?
Okay, Charles. Actually, we do, but we don't. So, what does the sun do? Again, I always go back to the sun. Why do I do that? Because what the sun demonstrates makes sense, and what's going on Earth doesn't. Okay, so that's a given. All right, so we don't. It's not a put down. It's just that we try and make sense of something. So, I see, like the sun, that what we do is we share. It's that simple. See, because we've come through the ideas of teachings, all right, and all these things, doctrines, teachings, sacred writings, wisdom, ancient wisdom, all these things, we've come through all these things. And realistically, when you really look at it, okay, yes, you've collected this information that's been created, okay? It's all been created out of what? Out of nothing. It's all been created out of nothing. Yet people look to it for something. But really, it's a reference. It's not to be looked to something for something. It's just simply a reference. So now this is where this comes in. It's very interesting. And this is where, yes, I like sharing. Okay, this is what we're doing. We're sharing. And I like the education. We're providing a real education because the world controllers, what they've done is they've created a distortion and gotten people to agree to the distortion of their so-called education, because the world is a business world and it's based upon education. So I see more that relates, that makes more sense, okay, than teaching. It's like what is heard so much of the time here for thousands of years, the teachings of Jesus, okay? And so again, has this message done something for the world when they're still looking for it and the world gets worse? So again, what makes sense? So I like sharing. What we're doing is we're sharing real guidance, real education. So, and that's all we can do, because this is the interesting part of it, because as you approach reality, you might say, not from your literal mind. You start off there, but again, at some point, you've got to walk past that. And you've got to recognize what cannot be seen by the mind and the senses. And if you don't, then you don't. But that is your challenge. That's a challenge for all of us, to recognize what else there is. And so how can you framework that in creation? Guess what? You can't. You cannot do it. It's a cannot thing. But what you can do is create references that kind of hint at it. And then to get it, see, this really is the best part, because when people read sacred writings, doctrines, the Bible, whatever, okay, and they become self-convinced, then that's all they'll ever know. They have just shielded themselves from the true reality life is. And many people think, well, this is a good thing because this is an absolute. It's the God all-knowing and whatever, he wrote the Bible. Whatever the ideas, these cute little ideas, well, those become absolutes. People become self-convinced, and that's where they stay for lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Well, this is a position like birds flying. When the bird leaves the nest, you don't know which way he's going to fly, because you know what? Any which way he flies is fine. It's all workable, because the bird recognizes that. You know, the bird doesn't recognize the limitations. The bird doesn't recognize, stop signs and, street signals and all these things that the people do. It flies wherever it wants. There's no consideration. It's not self-convinced that it has to fly a certain way, you see. But people they're self-convinced. And so I would say that I have defined this very, very well and continually to do it. But if people don't want to take the time to see for themselves what's taking place, well, this is where you need to take the challenge on. There is no absolute definition to this. That would be like saying, okay, that's like a person that's not healthy or has a disease or cancer, and saying, okay, well, what do I eat or what do I do to cure myself? Well, it may take many things and many steps. It's just not that you're just going to eat grapes and all of a sudden you're going to be healed. Well, maybe, but are you going to eat grapes your whole life, etc.? Is there going to be more shown as you go through your different stages of, with your body and what's taking place here? So again, this is what's interesting, and this is the challenge. I won't say hard. So, this is the challenge, to bring this about to where letting people know that, no, it's not step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. You're going to go through these, you're going to go through a process, But the reality is that you've got to learn to see it every moment, every single moment. I'm taking on this huge challenge with a couple of others here that most people don't know about, and this is the galactic part, and I like the challenge. And dealing with the aliens on other planets and stuff like that and other star systems, this becomes a real challenge because of what they've done. These people are destroyers, but they're listening and they're stepping up. But this has become a real challenge for me to get it across to them. And so been working on this a little over a year now, but we've come a huge leaps and bounds, etc. And so to bring this about, and look at the world, it's self-destructing. We got chemtrails, we got Wi-Fi, we got HARP, we got vaccines, we got GMO, we got everything. Everything's poison, and yet people are still agreeing to all this. It's like everyday business. We just do business as usual, polluting the air with our cars and petroleum, etc., which we don't really need. We don't need this nonsense, etc. There's other ways to do it that are clean with the environment, but this is continually agreed on because people have been, they have been programmed, they've been indoctrinated to a business world. Life is not a business, but set up the new presentation kind of along those lines, but all we can do is share. So again, each person that steps up, and each person has been chosen. Each person that is here has been chosen, but you decide. And just like the boys chose me, they made it so that I would step up. They went through a lot of situations to make sure that I would step up because they wanted me to do this. And it took me a while to figure it out. And those were the days where I took the rod of power and I had it for a year and a half and I stepped back because I had my business, everything else. It all came to fruition to where, wow, it was just burying me. So I had to step back. I had to redo myself and come back into this and refigure it out because I knew at that time it was not working. I was trying to do certain things, but I could see it was not working. Okay, so I was going through my stages, kind of like the chicken getting out of the shell, but you got to peck it out yourself. You got to break that shell to get out. And so this is the challenge for any of us here. And so to present this, it's really very wonderfully unique, but you really have to take the time sincerely with yourself and your intent to really see it and do it. And this is where you're the risk taker to step in to the unknown of yourself and figure it out in a particular way. But lucky you, and lucky everybody, that fortunately you have the basic idea to work from. And that's what I did too in Paul's day. I used that, and then I went out and I created things in colleges and whatever. I did it a particular, even to the point to where with the new management, which was Darwin, and especially as Harry got in there with Joni, they didn't like what I was doing. So, and that's fine. I didn't care. So even the other so-called higher initiates and other people, because I knew many, many people are in Southern California, they thought we were into psychic things, doing funny, weird this or whatever. But I was just looking to the real side. That's all. I was making sense of things. As the program got funnier and funnier, then finally got into worshiping and prayer and priests and all this nonsense. That's because Joni created all that. Harry didn't. He's not smart enough to do that. He just likes being Harry on stage, okay? And that's not a put down. That's a choice. He made the choice. He wants to be the king, and he let her take over. Well, she has. She's reptilian. She tap lines everybody. So they're end of story. But again, that's part of the adventure too. They are something. They're a good reference of what not to do. But if you want to do it, go for it. It's all choice. Everybody has the free will. But what I see unique about this is, and what I've learned and come to realize and recognize, because I could recognize the is, and this is why the boys chose me, but I've more so recognized it. It becomes more so every single moment. And this is the best part of it, but you cannot contain it. You cannot say, oh, this is it or this is it. You cannot do that. The best you can do with where we're at is create references. And then each individual decides to step up and take the risk. I look at Kelsey. Here's a little gal. I remember when Ava and I saw her on Facebook. And I would tell Ava, I said, "Oh, look at this little gal. She's taking our stuff and she's sharing it out there." And so she's like bumping around these little cute pictures of Kelsey. And now look where she is today. She took the risk. And see, she's seeing it. She's starting to see it. And Val, the same thing. You know, he came on a couple of the Skypes, and after a while he said, well, this is no brainer. And it's not tough. It just makes sense. You know, the thing is that most of the world, I see it. They are emotionally attached to old ideas that they feel safe with, and they're afraid to step outside of it for a moment and to be objective. Okay, well, you can't make them do it. So it's not a matter of push, you know. I'm not looking for people. Don't have followers. You know, this is where the free being of real light comes in. This is all of us. This is what we are. And just showing people how to, and sharing the ideas of how to support the reality life is, so you can be supported by it, so you don't have to keep struggling here. But this is a big journey. It's not overnight. It's not like you do a few news and voila, you're there. No, because this recognition is endless. This is what's so cool about it. It is endless. And that's where your real freedom comes in. And you will surpass real freedom once you start to recognize that, gee, that isn't even enough, because the isness life is precious. And it all starts with your intent. And most people don't recognize this. You must learn to recognize what is your real intent. Not just something surfacey. It's like, oh, I like this. I like what Duane is saying, or I like what I'm reading, or whatever. It's not about that. It's about your real intent and developing your relationship with this. So there is no specific way to present this. This is why I've written so many groups, because those groups become like signs on the road. They become like banners or big signs that they have on the side of the road, billboards, okay, etc. That's what they are. That's what I see them as. I remember when I first started doing this with Ava, and I couldn't maneuver Facebook. She helped me do it. This is where I got on Facebook, was with Ava. I had an account, but I never used it because I didn't know how to maneuver on it. And so she showed me, and then after a while I got the idea, well, can we do some pages or groups or whatever? And I figured it out. The groups are better. And it's not necessarily even getting people into the group. The idea is that when I write it, the group stays there, so that those hundreds of millions of people, even billions out there that are searching for something on Facebook, they have the opportunity to come across that, you see. So that billboard is there. And it's not so much chatting on the groups or whatever. If people just start to read that, and I usually have the book there or something as a reference. So we've made it available more so than any time on this earth. And thanks to the world controllers and the systems that they've created. So again, there's two sides to everything. And I'm grateful for what they've done, because I really don't have the time to stretch wires every day around the world, okay, and connect them. And I don't have all the tools and facilities to do that, but they do. So they've done it for us, and so far it's working. I don't know how long it's going to work, but I'm very grateful. But realistically, Charles, you cannot contain this. You must let it be as it is and take on the challenge to see it from that point of view. And then you might say, challenge yourself to see how you can creatively present it and become involved and more sincere and real, not with so much the presentation, that's the tool, but with what you can create and provide and share, so that you can stand real with this reality.